Hello everyone, welcome to a short lesson video on the topic Analysis and Communication of Accounting Information, that is Ratio Analysis for Cambridge A-Level Accounting. In this video, we will study some of the ratios in the syllabus and solve a past paper question on the same. Before we proceed, please note, abbreviations are used in this presentation only due to space constraints. Abbreviations are strictly not allowed in the Cambridge exams. Let us solve an example. We are given the inventory turnover ratio, the trade receivables turnover ratio, and the trade payables turnover ratio for a company for the years 2019 and 20. In 2019, the inventory turnover ratio is 30 days. That means from the date of purchase of raw materials, it takes 30 days for the entire batch of finished goods to be sold. Therefore, the time interval between the date of purchase of raw material and the date of sale is 30 days. The trade receivables turnover ratio is 41 days. That means there is a time interval of 41 days between the sale of finished goods and the date of collection from the customers. Therefore, we see that the time gap between the date of purchase of raw materials and the date of collection of payment from the customers is 71 days. 30 plus 41. So it takes 71 days from the date of purchase of raw materials to receive the money. This is our cash inflow. The trade payables turnover ratio is 46 days. That means from the date of purchase of raw materials, we have to pay back our trade payables within 46 days. So the date of settlement is 46 days from the date of purchase of raw material. So we will write that here 46 days from date of purchase of raw material. This is our cash outflow. So we can see that the cash outflow happens before the cash inflow. Cash inflow happens 25 days after cash outflow, and this is called the working capital cycle of the company. Let us check the working capital cycle for 2020. In 2020, the interval between the date of purchase of raw materials and the date of sale is 29 days. The interval between date of sale and the date of collection from the credit customers is 34 days. Therefore, the cash inflow happens 63 days after the date of purchase. From the date of purchase of raw materials, we have to settle our debts to our trade payables within 43 days. Therefore, the cash outflow happens 43 days from the date of purchase. And therefore, we see that in 2020, the cash inflow happens 20 days after cash outflow. If we compare the situations in 2019 and 2020, we see that now the cash inflow is happening sooner. We are receiving the money earlier. So the situation or working capital cycle has improved. Therefore, the formula for working capital cycle is inventory turnover ratio plus trade receivables turnover ratio minus trade payables turnover ratio. The working capital cycle measures the time it takes for cash to circulate around the working capital system. It calculates the interval that occurs between the time a business has to pay to the trade payables and the time it receives cash from its customers. The shorter the time between the cash outflow for the purchase of goods and the cash inflow for the sale of goods, the better for the business, since less finance will be needed from other sources. To shorten the working capital cycle, the company can either reduce the level of inventory held, which will reduce the inventory turnover ratio, or it can speed up collection of money from trade receivables, which will reduce the trade receivables turnover ratio, or it could negotiate better terms of credit with the trade payables, which would increase the trade payables turnover ratio. The idea is to hasten the cash inflow as much as possible and to delay the cash outflow as much as possible. Hence, we see that the working capital cycle is a liquidity ratio. Next, we come to net working assets to sales ratio. The formula is inventory plus trade receivables minus trade payables, the whole thing upon sales multiplied by 100. This ratio measures how effective management has been in generating sales from its working assets. Working net assets means less liquid net current assets, that is inventory, trade receivables and trade payables. The lower the ratio, the more efficient the management has been, since it means that less revenue is tied up in the net working assets. Let us solve an example. We are given the inventories, trade receivables, trade payables and sales figures for 2019 and 2020. Using this formula, we will find out the net working assets to sales ratios for both the years. 8.8% for 2019. Let's solve for 2020. 7.35% for 2020. There has been slight improvement over the 2 years under consideration. Let us solve a past paper question on the ratios that we have just studied. This is Feb-March 2019 paper variant 3.2. We have been provided some information of F Limited for the year ended 31st March 2018. We have the closing inventory, purchases, sales, trade payables and trade receivables. We have been told that all purchases and sales were on credit basis and the closing inventory was 20% higher than the opening inventory. For part A, we have to calculate the working capital cycle in days. So let us solve part A. We know that working capital cycle is equal to inventory turnover ratio plus trade receivables turnover ratio minus trade payable turnover ratio. We'll have to find out each one of these ratios. Inventory turnover ratio in days is equal to average inventory upon cost of sales into 365. But we don't know the cost of sales, so we will have to prepare working note 1. So working note 1, cost of sales is equal to opening inventory plus purchases less closing inventory. We know the figure for closing inventory and the purchases, but we don't know the figure for opening inventory. What we do know is that closing inventory is 20% higher than opening inventory. So we will find out opening inventory. Do note that the closing inventory figure is $240,000. If opening inventory is 100, closing inventory will be 120 because closing inventory is 20% higher than the opening inventory. Therefore, if closing inventory is 240,000, how much is the opening inventory? We will cross multiply. We can find out that the opening inventory is $200,000. So we will use these figures to find out our cost of sales. $200,000 of opening inventory plus $680,000 of purchases minus $240,000 of closing inventory. That gives us a cost of sales of $640,000. Average inventory is equal to opening inventory plus closing inventory divided by 2. This is the numerator. The denominator is cost of sales. Multiply this by 365. So our numerator is 200,000 of opening inventory plus 240,000 of closing inventory divide by 2, and the cost of sales we have already found out, it is $640,000. Multiplying this by 365, we get the inventory turnover ratio to be 126 days. I'll just circle it. Next, we'll find out the trade receivables turnover ratio. The formula is trade receivables upon credit sales into 365. The sales figure is $994,000 and the trade receivables are $137,500. All purchases and sales were on credit basis. That means the entire $994,000 is credit sales. Let's use these figures in the formula. we get a trade receivables turnover ratio of 51 days. Next, we will find out the trade payable turnover ratio. The formula is trade payables upon credit purchases multiplied by 365. There have been $680,000 of purchases during the year, and the trade payables at the end of the year are $52,100. All purchases are credit purchases. Using these figures in the formula, we get a trade payable turnover ratio of 28 days. We can now find out the working capital cycle. 126 days of inventory turnover ratio plus 51 days of trade receivables turnover minus 28 days of trade payables turnover. Our working capital cycle is 149 days. With this, we have solved part A of the question. In part B, we have to analyze the liquidity of F Limited. In the additional information, we have been told that F Limited allows its customers 60 days credit and it is allowed 30 days credit by the suppliers. When we solved part A, we found that customers are paying within 51 days and they are allowed 60 days of credit, and we are paying our suppliers within 28 days where we are allowed 30 days of credit. That means F Limited's cash inflows and outflows are as per the agreed deadlines. But cash outflow is in 28 days from the date of purchase of raw materials, and cash inflow is within 51 days from the date of purchase of raw materials. So there is an adverse effect on cash flow because cash inflow is happening much later than the cash outflow. In the previous year, the company could sell the entire batch of goods within 104 days. This year, the company is taking 126 days to sell the entire batch of goods. So the inventory turnover ratio has worsened, leading to poorer liquidity. The only ways to improve the liquidity are to reduce the receivable days and the inventory turnover while increasing payables days. With this analysis, we have completed part B of the question. In part C, they have asked us to analyze the change in the net working assets to revenue ratio of F Limited. In the additional information, we have been told that the net working assets to revenue ratio has risen from 27.85% in the last year to 32.74% this year. This shows that the proportion of net current assets held in non-cash form is high. This indicates inefficiency as more assets are being used to generate sales. We know that the formula for net working assets to revenue ratio is inventory plus trade receivables minus trade payables upon sales into 100. Let us look at each one of these components separately. So for inventory, we see that the closing inventory is greater than the opening inventory. So inventory has increased during the year. Similarly, for trade receivables, we have been told that the trade receivables had risen during the year. And for trade payables, we have been told that the trade payables had fallen during the year. All of these things have contributed to an increase in net working assets to revenue ratio. You can pause the video for a minute to understand better the analysis for part C. Next, they have told us that Blair is an investor who is wondering whether he should invest in F Limited or C Limited. His main requirement is a regular income from the investment. That means he is looking for a company with good profitability and which pays regular dividends. So they have given us information regarding the two companies, that is the gearing ratio, earnings per share, dividend cover ratio, and the dividend per share ratio. In part D, we have to advise Blair in which company he should invest and we have to justify the answer. So let us compare the two companies. When we look at the gearing ratio, both the companies are low geared. That means both of them have gearing ratio less than 50%. But compared to C, F Limited's gearing ratio is lower, which indicates less risk. Next, we look at earnings per share. It is higher for C Limited, which is better. It indicates greater profits for each share held. Coming to the dividend cover ratio, again this is higher for C Limited, which is better, indicating that there is a greater proportion of profits available for the payment of dividends. Dividend per share also is higher for C Limited, which is better, which shows that a higher dividend is paid for each share held. Judging by this and Blair's main requirement that he needs a regular income on the investment, we can advise Blair to invest in C Limited. You might want to pause the video for a minute and go through the analysis and recommendation for part D. We have now completed part D, which means we have solved the entire question. So this was a past paper question on some of the ratios in the syllabus. We will solve a question of a different type in the next video.